Futures in focus. The threat of Hurricane Irma is pushing orange juice and sugar prices higher today and this week. Let's get to the CME and discuss this with Ted Seifried of Zaner AG Hedge. Ted, thanks for joining us today. Ted, I mean, as we've seen this move up in orange juice futures in the last 6 days, you've got to ask the question, given the importance of Florida to the orange juice industry, what sort of levels could we reach depending on which pathway Irma moves?
Yeah, absolutely. So Florida produces 50% of the U.S. production of orange juice. We're the second largest producer in the world. So losses at this point seem likely, but the track, as you said, is the biggest determinant factor of what we're going to see as far as losses. Production is mostly on the western side of Florida, so if the track takes more of a western route, then that could produce the bigger damage. So we'll see. At this point, wind is the biggest threat. Think flying oranges, Mark. That would be the problem here. that's where the biggest production loss could come from. As you said, orange juice has rallied the last six sessions from 130 to 155. 172 could be the major target to the upside in the worst case scenario where we do the most amount of damage. But I would say this, lows are probably in with any substantial damage, but minimal damage if Irma takes more of an eastern track and really spares the western half of the state. That could push OJ back towards the 140 level, and this could be just, an opportunity to sell. So it's a hurricane trade, and it's been fun to watch.
What about the sugar trade, Ted? I mean, the big threat clearly for sugarcane is wind at this stage, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, same thing there too. Wind, sugarcane's set to get harvest on towards the end of this month into October 1st. So it's a very developed crop. Wind can snap. Sugarcane's very brittle, so wind can lay down a sugarcane crop and it doesn't come back from that. So prices are still kind of hovering in the 13 to 15 cent range. The problem with sugar is that there's big global supply right now. And when you look at what could happen if we lose some of our production, well, on the demand side of things, we're pretty easy to replace sugar with high fructose corn syrup in foods, although there has been a trend lately to move more towards natural sugar. But also the ethanol industry. I mean, we use sugar for ethanol, but we have an abundance of corn right now. So the upside potential in sugar, I think, is relatively limited, even with some damage from Irma, just simply because we have other things in place that we would demand ration very, very quickly. So you look at Thailand production on a global scale. Thailand production is expected to be up 1 million metric tons. Their exports are expected to be up about the same. And then Chinese demand is only going to grow slightly. So watch Brazilian weather. That is a big thing for sugar prices. But I wonder if the bigger trade for Hurricane Irma might be cotton.